Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lucy's Paradise Podcast. I have a good friend of mine, Justin Conant. He is a videographer, photographer, and graphic designer. Justin, say hi.
No. I've been called worse.
Yeah, please tell us a little bit about you.
You just said it. So.
Besides your career.
Man. Can you be more specific?
A little bio about you, where you're from.
Oh God, that's
that,
a difficult question to answer. I've lived so many places. I was born in New Jersey. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I lived in Florida. Lived in California. Lived briefly in Alabama, and then lived out here somewhere in the middle of that, and then moved back like 3 years ago. So,
what brought you back to Hawaii?
Look around. Why wouldn't I try to come back out here, man?
Yeah, true.
No, it's just everything. Peace. I think that's the easiest answer. Is peace brought me out here. Because LA is just a grind,
So worst place you live, LA?
Yeah, probably. For my mental health, I'd say probably, yeah, LA.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, the Northeast has its own quirks because of weather.
Right.
But as far as the people, LA was just super toxic. And it's funny because when I lived in Florida, everybody out there was like, oh, you're the kind of person who would thrive in Los Angeles. You're such a creative. There's so many people like that out there, yada, yada.
Right.
But the more people like that I met out there, the more I realized that nobody's trying to build a tribe. They're all trying to shove everybody else down and build themselves up.
Yeah,
which is
true.
Just not the vibe.
Right,
that's
right.
not.
Here's a little different.
It's the total opposite.
Yeah.
All boats ride with the tide
right,
out here.
right.
Literally, for example, I get hit up every now and then about photography gigs or videography gigs, and I don't need that kind of stuff. So I have friends that I will personally recommend. So
right.
I'm unavailable, but this person is just as good, if not better.
Right.
And you're going to love their body of work and their work ethic, and I'd rather throw them the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love being able to do that, to pay it forward, because, the stuff I did for a long time, I made a lot of connections in that world. And so every now and then one will creep up and say, hey, so-and-so told me about you, yada, yada. I go, oh, cool. Well, I'm unavailable that weekend, but, here's my buddy Dom, and hit him up because Dom's the best.
Yes, Dom prevails.
You got to get him on this, man.
Oh yeah,
that would be a good interview.
I didn't even think about that.
I'll hit him up. I'll ask him.
Yeah.
I'll tell him.
Yeah, tell him. So how do we know each other? Do you remember?
I remember.
I was trying to remember.
Well, I know it's through my best friend Kay, but
yeah, I was just trying to think of the exact memory or day, and I was like,
I remember you were living in LA at the time. We were both living in. Wait, was I out there yet? No, I wasn't out there yet. I was still in Florida. I was trying to get out there because Kay was already out there. Kay moved so many times, in and around Los Angeles. Kay lived in LA, in Anaheim, in Santa Ana, in San Diego,
That's right.
up
Yeah,
and
yeah,
down
yeah.
the Los Angeles to Southern California. I think they were out there 5-6 years or so.
Yeah.
And probably moved as many times as many years as they were out there.
Yeah.
/ that's how many times I moved when I was out there. I was out there 5 years and moved 5 times. So,
yeah.
But anyways, I'm certain it was through Kay. And I remember you were living in this I don't even know what to call it, a combine of sorts. It was that outdoor place.
In Reseda. Yep.
In Reseda.
Yep. Hell yeah.
My first drone is in a pond in Reseda.
Oh my god.
There's that. Yeah, goose bit it out of the sky. I had it 3 days.
Oh my god, that's tragic.
It was very sad.
That's almost like Sonia having her headphones, her
Okay.
$200 headphones for 1 day, less than 24 hours, and is questioning me about where they are. I was like, I don't even remember you wearing them and using them. She's like, I had them 1 day.
The drone beats that because I think I spent almost $2,000 on that drone. Well, thank God, DJI was very helpful. They wound up. I wasn't able to recover it, obviously, because it's in the middle of a pond.
Did they give you a credit or something?
Essentially, because I had everything else. The remote still works, and all the extra batteries and parts and propellers and stuff. I have everything but the actual thing, right? Essentially what they did was sell me like a refurbished one for at like a significant discount price.
Yeah.
Like, and so that worked out. And I still have that one.
You're like, emotional damage.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That sounds awful.
Dude, I almost didn't believe it because I was just looking at my screen for a second and I looked up and I just saw this bloop and I was like, and it all just hit. And you know when you're like a teenager and you get caught like lying to your parents and that wave of like warmth of like guilt like washes over you?
Yeah.
It was the same feeling. It was like, no, that wasn't supposed to
and
happen.
you can't like prevent that. Like that's not something that
well, I didn't foresee.
I
did see the geese scoot by, but I didn't foresee one of them just going, "Nyop," you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was not cool. So anyways, you were living in Reseda in this like weird
combine.
I don't know what else to call it, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you call it that? Because it was like
it really was set up that way. It was almost like a makeshift
let me set
hostel.
this up. It was an outdoor, open, like it was like Adirondacks. Like there was a main house, and there were like what 5, 6 little.
We had a fire pit. We had like hammocks in the backyard.
But it was like sheds that like had no front face and like bunk beds inside. And each one had like some people, there was only, some sheds there were only 1 or 2 people. Some there were like 4.
Yeah.
But you were living that. And I just remember thinking like, this is weird, but cool. Like there was something about the community aspect of it that I thought was super rad.
I really liked it. That was a good
And
time.
that's how I met you. And I think it was through Kay because I think you were... Because at the time you were training.
She would come over there a lot. She would come over there a lot too.
Well, weren't you training?
Yeah, I think I was working at a gym back then.
Well, you must have.
But I remember she came over a lot, and because I remember down that street we would film a lot of random stuff. Just I don't even know.
It was probably workout videos or training videos or like you were trying to build a brand. You're always trying to build a brand. Like
no, but she was still doing the vlog, the daily vlog thing too.
Oh, well, that was just content.
Right,
you
right,
were content. Yeah.
Yeah. But she was always doing that. So I don't know.
If we went and checked back on their channel.
Yeah. We'd probably have to check back.
We could probably find the exact day. Because at that time, Kay was daily vlogging back then, and Kay went like, oh god, it must have been 3 years straight. Because I think the record is something like 8 or 10 years straight.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's
a record.
I want to say
did that.
Yeah, at one point Charles Trippy had that record or was chasing
much
it.
Free time on your hands.
Well, that was their life. That was all they did,
That's crazy.
and when you're a touring musician, like it's pretty easy to kind of like film your life every day because it's interesting. You know,
true.
You're like, here's today in this state, this city, this country, whatever.
We'll talk about your touring stuff because you've done some pretty interesting touring. I mean, the stuff that you would like to talk about, of course.
I mean, I've almost been left in 3 different countries. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Have I never told you these stories?
No, but you better tell me now.
Oh my god, they're. Okay, each one is progressively worse.
Okay, perfect. I love this.
The first one was in Germany.
Oh, gosh.
We were, I want to say it was Hamburg. And we were on tour with this rad band called The Blackout. They were from Wales.
Ooh.
And they quit shortly after that tour, like maybe a year or so after that tour. They released like one last EP and then called it quits as a band. And like in the last year and a half or 2 years or so, they've like come back and done like this big like comeback tour, and they're like bigger than they've ever been. They've been selling out rooms. Like they were so good. This is a band who was like, imagine like the second wave of Warped Tour bands, right? So like, you're A Day to Remember's, it was kind of like that, where they had slow and pop punk songs, but also like aggressive, like hardcore, heavier songs. So they could kind of balance and toe that line very easily. They're such a good band, man. And they had the raddest band T-shirt of all time. And I'm so mad that I've lost it. I don't know where. It disappeared years ago. It must have, because I used to wear it a lot, and it was just so cool. It was Zombie Yoda feasting on the brains of Vader. and it just said The Blackout on top. It
Oh
was
my
the
God, that's
coolest,
cool.
the coolest band T-shirt ever. Remember those
Yeah,
like full
Star Wars
those,
already.
like,
I love it already.
neck to waist print T-shirts,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the neon era, right, of all those like Warped Tour T-shirts where everyone had that cool like cartoon neon style, right? It was one of those, but with that style. It was
That's cool.
It's such a rad shirt, man. They've decommissioned it and haven't printed it out. Anyways, we're on tour with this band, and Jumpsuit was opening for them, so it was what's called main support, right? So they play right before the headliner, and a lot of times they wouldn't stick around for the headline set. Because we're in a foreign country, we want to either go explore or get back to the hotel so we have enough rest to drive however many hours to the next city, you know, because big cities in Germany were like in America, like between 4 and 8 hours away from one another. You know, we hit almost every major city in Germany except for Munich, I think was the only one we didn't hit. So we did Frankfurt, Hamburg, Cologne. At one point we were in Dusseldorf, which is like a main hub for if you're flying in and out of Europe. And there was probably another one in there. I don't remember what the other one was. Anyways, so it was kind of like that. I think it definitely wasn't the first night of the tour, but it might have been like the 4th or 5th night of the tour. And I have a friend over there. Her name's Kira, and she's a big Blackout fan, big Jumpsuit fan too, but like huge Blackout fan. She's from Germany, but she's like lived all over the place. I think right now she's working on a farm somewhere in like the UK or something, which is like so rad. She's like the raddest person. Anyways, she is one of those girls who like get into the pit and like jump around, have some fun, you know, push and stuff.
Right.
And it was just so much fun to do that with this band because they had a 2-singer like setup.
Oh, shoot.
It was the clean vocals and then the screamer, right? And occasionally the screamer would do harmonies, right? And the screamer had this like 900-foot cord and was in the pit every single night.
My God.
And would just run around, have fun with the kids. I mean, we're talking about like seedy little clubs that like are maybe 200 cap rooms.
Yeah.
You know, imagine.
I gotta look up this band.
Oh, dude, I'll play some jams,
Yeah.
man. They're so good. Look up a song called "Shut the Fuck Uppercut." It's pretty good. All one word. Shut the fuck uppercut. It's pretty good. But their slower jams are probably their more popular jams because they're very radio friendly.
Okay.
But they're so good. Anyways, so they would play these like CD like clubs that were maybe 200, 300 cap rooms, you know, and kind of half fill up. I don't think any one of the shows was completely sold out, and because Jumpsuit didn't really tour the European market all that much.
Yeah.
They didn't really have a big, strong draw over there, right? At least not at the time. This is 2013, 2014, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I want to say it was 13 because that was like the year that we like did this insane world tour. It was like, I think we did 17 countries in almost every state. Like it was nuts. I think we were on tour like 11 months that year.
Dang.
It was bananas.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, so Kira and I are, so the Jumpsuit finishes. We're not selling any t-shirts. Nobody's buying anything. Everyone's here to see the Blackout. It's not a Jumpsuit crowd. Happens sometimes. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So our tour manager says, hey, just pack it up, toss it in the van. And that's it. I'm like, so what do I do now? And they're like, well, just enjoy the show. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm going to do that. So me and Kara go jump around in the pit for a while, and we're just having a blast. And, you know, the headline set is like an hour long, whatever. And the show finishes and people kind of funnel out. And I noticed that none of my guys are around. Like I'm looking, I don't see our tour manager. I don't see anybody in the band. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I think Kira at the time was living in another city in Germany and had traveled to Cologne. And then I promised her that, like, because like a lot of times on tour we'll have like we get a hotel almost every night, depending on where we are, especially in a foreign country. But there's almost always extra room, right? So she's like, I really want to come to the Hamburg show. It was really so much fun, but I don't have the money to like crash anywhere. I was like, dude, you can just crash in my room. It's not a big deal. Like, just hang. Like, and I promised her that because she had no way to get back that night.
She was gonna stick with you.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So now I've got my friend who I promised, like, you know, at least a roof over her head that night, right? And I'm looking around like no one's around. I'm like, oh man, that's not cool. So I go outside. The van is gone.
Oh no.
I'm like, We're in a foreign country. This is like before we figured out SIM cards. So we were just living off of Wi-Fi, which is stupid. What a dumb thing to do. And thank God my friend speaks fluent English and fluent German.
Oh, amen.
Right?
Okay.
So I hop on the Wi-Fi, get an email from our tour manager, says, hey, here's the coordinates. Here's the address for the hotel we're staying tonight. I'm like, oh, well, that's helpful, but how do I get there? I don't really have a lot of money at the time, because I had just started touring with the guys. Maybe I'd been out like a year or so, something like that, maybe 2. And she's like, all right, well, I guess we got to get a cab. That shouldn't cost too much. This isn't that far away. We can get there. Okay, cool. I don't speak a lick of German, so thank God she was with me. So she was able to tell the cab driver, here's where we're going, yada, yada, and he was able to translate, or she was able to translate for me, how much it would cost and all that and stuff like that. So we get a cab to the hotel, and the next morning, wake up, go down to breakfast, and the guys are like, well, what happened to you last night? I was like, what do you mean what happened to me? You guys bailed on me. Yeah. And they're like, we looked for you. I was like, you didn't look hard enough because I was literally in the pit the entire time.
What do you mean?
And to this day, they said that they claim, or one of the guys claims that I was not in that room, which is bullshit, is I completely wasn't. I was in the pit the entire time. So that was how that ended. It was very fun. Anyways, Kira made it home safe and was fine. Good. And the rest of the tour was pretty cool. I kept a close watch on everything.
Okay,
so that's the first place I almost got left. That was a little scary, but at least at the time I had access to Wi-Fi and could at least communicate and figure out where people were going.
Yeah,
they weren't. I think the priority was sleep, and if I was gonna continue to be at the show, they're going to go take care of their bodies because they need to, because they're performers, which is important, right?
Yeah, totally.
Just the ball on
it's
communication.
It's never fun to find anyone either way,
exactly.
but still,
All right, so that was one.
I always have a meet me at the car plan.
That one,
worst comes to worst,
Right.
Everyone leaves and because I'm not going to leave my friend, but I might nap for a second while we wait for you to come out or something, but... but I want to hear the worser story. That was too tame.
Wait, the which? Oh, okay.
The next one.
Well,
that
one
progressively.
That
worse.
was. Yeah, they do. They really do.
That one was not fair because you had Wi-Fi.
Right. The last one.
You had coordinates and you had a translator.
The last one's really, really bad.
Okay.
Really scary.
I can't wait for that one.
Okay, so the second. So the first one, half my fault, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's really giving it. Yeah.
Sure blame.
All right. So the second one was in the Philippines.
Shit.
Yeah. I love the Philippines. Beautiful country. The people there are amazing. Best mangoes on the planet, hands down. The food is super good. Everything about the Philippines really rules. And you know what else too is the culture. The kids who come to those shows, they know everybody on a first name basis. They know every word to even the B-sides of the records.
Wow.
The songs nobody knows.
Yeah,
those kids love music.
Wow.
And it is apparent on every single person's face. There's no one kid here who's like, oh, my friend was coming, so I decided to come too.
Right.
It was, I've been waiting, 4 years for you to come to my country, and it's finally here. So that it's a lot of love in the Philippines, right?
Love that.
Okay. So this was our second visit since I had joined the crew. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it was the second visit. And usually when we are in the Philippines, we'll play shows in and around Manila, right? There's something like 7,100 islands in the Philippines, right? Actually, I think it's 7,106, something like that.
You're a nerd for that.
No, because that was the name of the festival that we were at. It was like 7106 Festival or something like that. I think that's what it was, 7106.
Why is this relevant?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Anyways, the guys had come back for a big festival, and the Chili Peppers were headlining, which was huge. Okay, sidebar. It's a 2-day festival. Day 1 is EDM Fest, right? And day 2 is Rock Fest, right?
Oh, shit.
Now, the venue is 2.5 hours one way from the hotel / airport, okay? It's like this old, abandoned Air Force base or something like that, that they've, I guess, recommissioned into an entertainment place of some kind, whatever. But it was quite a long drive just to get there, right? So it's far away. And it's in the middle of nowhere too, like a big field. Like
Ugh.
you could see the stars, middle of nowhere. Okay, no light pollution.
Yeah,
Okay,
dang.
but something like 30,000 people were there.
Wow.
There's taxis, buses, yada yada. And because I'm selling merch, I got to be there both days. So day one, it's just EDM fest, and if I hear wah 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 one more time, like I'm gonna strangle people. It was 12 hours from
Whoa.
8 o'clock in the morning until 8 p.m. I think something like that, or maybe 9 to 9.
Yeah.
Shut it down. All EDM from that entire time.
You were ready for the
I
next
was
day.
so over it. And in that 12 hours, I think I sold one T-shirt
Oh my gosh.
to a group of Australians who were wonderful, who had island hopped to come and see they were there for Chili Peppers, obviously, but also they were big Jumpsuit fans, which was super cool. And that's it. So 12 hours, one T-shirt. That was super annoying.
Super annoying.
So I take the cab back. They had when you do a festival like that, usually the venue arranges a ferry service of some kind to get the act, like the talent, to and from where they're staying to where they're going, yada yada, right? Especially in foreign countries, especially if there's a language barrier, which there kind of is over there. So I get in my little cab and we head back and call it a night, right? So the next night, it's the rock festival. Get there early, set up everything again. This time selling a lot more. And it's a long day. A lot of great bands are playing. Everything's awesome. And some of the guys are big Chili Pepper fans. Some of them aren't. So I think like one or two of them might have left like before they even got on stage. And the rest of them stayed, watched like 3-4 songs, and then went back because, like I said, it's such a long drive. It's 2.5 hours just to get back to the hotel, And they're tired from their set. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I'm the last man standing, right?
You got to knock it off. And
There's
stop
a key
doing
component.
that.
There's a key component to the story. There's this fella who's wonderful. I adore him. He's a dear friend of mine. His name is Nadim, and he was TMing at the time. So he was tour managing for. I think at that time it was just us, maybe a few other acts that had come. But this was like this young kid who was a big like Mayday Parade fan, and he somehow like figured out a way to like corner the Southeast Asian market and become TM for anybody who wanted to explore that market musically. So, I mean, he's toured with, everybody from Mayday Parade to us to like, I mean, just a ton of like those cool Warped Tour bands. He was so young doing this. Like he was a teenager figuring out all this,
Wow.
But he, at the time, because he was a kid, he, wanted to be a part of the party, and some bands are like that, So he kind of was like this kind of party guy, right? So he was on this run with us, and the evening ended. Very successful show. We made a lot of money in merch. Good times. Let's get to the next country. I think we were headed to Singapore after that. And it was his responsibility to make sure everybody got back home, right? And that's the whole deal. Okay. So he got back to his hotel early because all the other guys, it just slipped his mind that like I was still there, right? Because literally everybody else had already taxied back, right? And I pack up everything. It's an hour after everything's closed. The local Filipinos are literally tearing down the stage in front of me. There is Wi-Fi in the like green room tents behind the stage, but there's a timeline on that because everybody's tearing things down actively. Now,
right.
This is another case where I had another friend who she spoke fluent languages over there. I think 2 of them.
Thank God.
And she was with me the entire time as well. And she, thank God, was able to like speak with like somebody to find someone in charge to figure out where the ferry service was to take us back, right? Because she lived in Manila.
Okay.
And she was also a part of, or used to be, I don't know if it still is, there was a magazine company over there called Pulp. And so the guys were featured in that. We did a photo shoot for that. That was really cool. It was the first time I got printed in a magazine. That was pretty rad. I think I should have brought a couple of those. I still have copies of those old magazines in like pristine condition and stuff. So that's how I know her, was through the magazine. She was kind of like our, I don't even know what the word is, like our liaison, if you will, between the magazine, us, the band, and also the show, right?
Yeah.
So she was part of it.
Language too.
I don't think she was a writer per se. She may have had a hand in that process. I just can't remember what exactly her job was. But either way, she was like around basically when we were there the entire time. So she stuck with me the entire time as well because, why not hang out for the entire show? Why not see the Chili Peppers? Because I played for like 2 hours or something like that, right? It's amazing. And so the guys are tearing down the stage, and she like talks to one of them and figures out like, oh, there's no more taxis coming back. Like, what do you mean? The guy's like, yeah, they're all gone. Everybody left. That's it.
What?
We're literally in the middle of nowhere, dude. We're in the middle of this big field. Remember, 30,000 people showed up. They're almost all gone too. All that's left is workers tearing down the stage piece by piece, right? So I'm like, oh my God, this is slowly boiling into maybe a problem. Now, again, I still have Wi-Fi. I know where the hotel is because I've already been there, and I know how, or at least the address, right? At the time, I don't think there was Uber, things like that. I would just have to find like a taxi cab to come and drive in the middle of nowhere. But why should I have to do that when there already was a ferry service, right? So, and again, SIM card issue, right? If we had SIM cards, this wouldn't have been a problem.
Right. And you can communicate with each other or whatever.
Okay, so I start blowing up Nadine's phone. I am livid. I am so mad because I am done. I spent 12 hours the day before listening to wah, 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 wah. I want to murder people, right? I am just over this entire 24 hours or 48 hours at that rate.
Right.
I'm just done with this day. I'm tired, exhausted, and I still have a 2.5 hour drive back, right? So, I start blowing up his phone. Nothing. Silence. Nothing. Can't. I don't remember if I was like Facebook messaging him or texting him or whatever it was. I was the direct line of communication to him. He just wasn't answering and stuff. And then eventually I got a chime back. Oh, I start blowing up our guitar player, and I go, yo, what's going on? Where is Nadim? And he's like, he's back at the hotel. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm still at the venue. Like, how am I supposed to get back? He's like, there's no taxi. I'm like, there's no taxi. The workers said they're all gone. I'm running out of Wi-Fi, bro. So figure this out quick,
Oh, dang.
And thank God he helped me out, and was able to like essentially get, I think, if I remember correctly, I think he got a hold of Nadim and was like, hey, Justin's still at the venue. Like, figure it out. That's kind of how Randy is. He's very direct. I love that guy. He's so rad. Great. And it was actually his birthday, either yesterday or the day before. So happy birthday to Randy. So eventually Nadim is able to contact the ferry service, who is already halfway on their way home, right? So there was additional staff in addition to my friend. I think we're maybe either a part of her team or something like that. There was like a media team of some kind. Right?
Oh, okay.
Because it was like this whole showcase for the band. And that's all in the article. I should just read the article. That would probably tell me what it was. And they were already on their way back. So they were halfway back.
Oh my God.
They had to turn around and come back to get me. And I'm so mad at this rate. And so now it's just, are they coming? Nadim says they are. So hurry up and wait for another like 90 minutes. At least 2 hours, something like that. It was a while. So finally the cab rolls up. Everything's Gucci. Get in the car. I go, give me the aux cord. I have never listened to Metallica louder in my entire life. I was just like, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. I was so mad, and I was blasting it. Now, I'm in a car full of Filipinos who are like very polite, and I'm just so mad. And this was just like fueling it. And luckily, my friend is into heavy music as well, and she was like, yeah, that's right. This is the mood, That was pretty cool.
You're like,
man, yeah. So and then eventually, so then I get back to the hotel, right? 2.5 hours later, got 2.5 hours to cool down. Nope, still pissed. And me, I'm a pretty like chill dude. Like violence is not the answer, whatever. I pound on Nadim's door like a PR officer or parole officer, and he answers it in his like underwear, and he immediately drops to his knees like, I'm so sorry, I just forgot, I'm so sorry. And I just felt so bad in that moment. I just gave him a hug. I'm like, don't ever fucking do that again, man. That shit sucked.
I know.
It's such an awful experience. So that one, not my fault.
Not cool. Why does everyone keep leaving you, dude? What the heck? I'm gonna get an air tag for you.
Oh my God, dude, I know, right?
I'd be like, wait,
is he off,
Justin?
Is he off his leash again?
Yeah.
All right, the third time.
Oh gosh.
This is the worst.
All right. Okay. Hopefully there's no translator. I'm sick of you having translators. This is helping you out too much. You need to suffer. No,
this time, Africa.
Oh my gosh.
South Africa. 2 shows. We're there 4 total days, 2 shows.
This time, Africa.
One of them's in Johannesburg. One of them's in Cape Town. Cape Town's the capital of South Africa. We're in Cape Town, and it's the day before the show. and it's Africa. So let's go do something fun. So they again had this time it was like two dudes. One was like a driver, and I guess one was like an acting liaison / tour manager fella dude, right? And they drove us up to this place called Table Mountain, which is beautiful. It's like literally the southern tip of, imagine like the southern tip of Africa, like as far south as you can go and as high up as you can go in that area. And you just see the entire city of Cape Town.
Wow.
And the entire like rest of Pacific Ocean to maybe like the tip of the Antarctic Ocean, right?
Wow.
So like this is where like all those great white shark videos are shot with Seal Island and stuff like that. It's like this is my view, right?
Wow.
Beautiful space. And we took this like bus to get up there. And it took us a while to get up the mountain because you take these like narrow little goat trail switchbacks to get up there. You know, the roads are pretty thin because it's a very steep mountain. It's kind of like out here, you know?
Right.
It's kind of like, you know what it reminded me a lot of is Tantalus. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Real steep switchbacks. And remember, we're in like a bus, you know, so
Wow.
making those turns is not fun,
No.
you know?
Yeah.
So it took us a while to get up there. And when we get up there, there's like all these guys like paragliding and stuff, you know?
Wow.
It's like, oh man, that's cool. Like,
Hell yeah.
when in Africa?
Oh,
And I says to Ron, like, I'm going to go do it. He's like, bullshit. I'm like, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go figure it out how much it costs, right?
Oh
So
my
I go
gosh.
up, I talk to the guy. I was like, hey, are you guys just doing this for fun or is this your business? What's the deal? You know, he's like, oh, you know, it's for tourists. We can do it, you know. It costs, I think it was about $120 a person or something like that, you know.
not
And you
bad.
just kind of coast down on your little paraglide. You know, folks do it out here over at Makapu'u. Same kind of thing, you know,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
Africa, you know.
Yeah.
And we, I go back to the guys. I'm like, hey man, they told me what it costs. I have that in cash. So the currency over there is called rand, and whatever it was, I think at the time it was like 10 to $1 to rand, so it was like 1,200 rand, whatever that was. It was like $120. And you get, you know, the video package and the photo package and all that stuff too, because right, it's like GoPros and shit like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So he has one on him, and then he gives you one to hold on like a stick, right?
Oh,
so
cool,
it's pretty
cool,
cool.
cool.
I have
Yeah,
like this
that's awesome.
all on video,
That's
right?
dope. That's
It's pretty rad. The guys are like, all right, you're nuts, but this is low key pretty cool.
Yeah,
You're
hell
like
yeah.
the only one who decided to do it and really balled out, right?
Yeah.
And if you ask the guys today, and in fact, I'm pretty sure there's an interview out there of Ronnie talking to someone in the Philippines when we went back like a couple years later about how I lived it up the most in Africa because I really did.
Yeah. That's scary though.
A little.
How high up were you?
I mean, I'd say probably around the height of the Ko'olaus, you know,
dang.
somewhere in that range. Pretty high up.
That's scary.
You know, maybe a little less, I'd say. I don't know what the exact height of Table Mountain is. But it was really cool. And so right next to Table Mountain is the peak of the mountain. It's called Lion's Head. So it's a very famous peak. And you kind of coast back and forth around Lion's Head, right? And Table Mountain. And kind of coast down over the city, you know, and eventually get down to the beach below. So I says to the guys, like, hey, man, I don't know how long this is going to take me. It looks like probably a good half-hour ride or so. Are you guys going to be here? You know, because they have a taxi service that takes you back to the top. And they're like, nah, we'll just meet you down at the beach. I'm like, all right, bet. That's cool, man. So I didn't want to lose shit in the air. So I go, here, Ron, you know, take my phone, take my wallet, take my keys,
no.
you know, and my pockets are empty. I go, here you go. Take all this. Please take care of it. Take my passport, too.
Oh my God.
Take all this. I don't want to lose it
No.
in the air. And I'll see you down at the beach in like an hour or so, you know? Okay. That's the
See you
setup.
never.
See you never. That's the setup.
See you never.
My pockets are empty, bro. I'm in Africa, okay?
Yeah.
Cape Town. I do this flight, beautiful. I mean, they built, there's an Olympic Stadium out there.
No anxiety yet while you're going down.
No, dude, it's so peaceful. You know what it felt like? People always ask what it was like. It felt like, have you ever been on a ski lift? It
Yeah.
felt like that. It felt just like that. It's awesome. You know, and the guy's like, I'm like, this is awesome. This is your job. You know, he's like, yeah, best desk view I've ever had. You know, he's got all the jokes. And it was really cool. Just like talk to him and stuff. And it was such a peaceful coast down because you just kind of, you know, glide back, then forth, then back and forth. Good half hour in the sky, you know? And we're just like slowly descending. You turn back and look and you go, oh shit, we're pretty far out. This is pretty rad.
That's
you
great.
fly over the whole city. And finally at the end, I'm like, hey man, does this thing do any tricks or what? You know, because this has been pretty chill. He's like, you want some tricks? So we can go corkscrew. I can do a couple of those and barrel down to the beach, right? So we land on the beach. Everything's awesome. Got us all on video. I'm like, man, that was great. And it's the way they run it is they just give you the card. There's no like download process. Like, here you go. This belongs to you. You paid for it.
The memory card.
The memory card.
Nice.
It's like, here's your card. It's like, cool, pocket that. And I was like, all right, well, that was great. Thank you. And he was kind of lingering a bit, which I felt like
Fucking
it was maybe
lingers.
like, I don't know if it was like a tip thing or whatever. And because like most countries aside from America don't tip. Like, it's not a thing. It's like a very American thing.
Right.
You know, especially in Europe, like, it's not a thing. And some countries, it's almost seen as an insult. It's like, why are you giving me more money? Like, they pay me just enough, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it was something like that. I was like, hey man, like, my pockets are empty. Like, I'd love to give you more money, but like, he's like, no, it's okay. I'm just waiting for the cab. I'm like, oh, right. Well, I mean, I'm just going to stay here. And he just kept like pushing me to take the cab up. He's like, I just radioed to my buddy up at the top. Your friends are still up there. You might as well take the cab. And it's at that moment that I realize I have no form of communication. So I might as well. Right? Because if he says they're still up there, maybe they're still enjoying the view. I don't want to sit down here for 3 hours waiting on somebody that might not come. Right. I might as well take the cab up. Right? And it didn't cost me anything.
Yeah, I feel like I would have done the same thing.
Right. So it's getting close to like sunset, right? Not quite there. Like, maybe like if sunset's at 7, it's about 6 o'clock, right?
Okay.
So I take the cab up, and again, it takes a while to get back up there, like probably like 45 minutes to an hour drive, depending on if you're stuck behind a bus or something, you know. Get to the top, roll into the parking lot. Not only are my guys not there, but the parking lot is empty.
Oh, no.
Nobody's there. Not even the paraglider dudes. They're gone.
He's such a good storyteller.
Everyone's gone. It's crickets, bro.
You're like,
and the cab driver's like, all right, get out. You know, so I'm like, bro,
can I go again?
I got no money.
No phone.
I got no phone. I got no identification.
Oh my gosh.
My pockets are empty, and I'm on top of a mountain in the middle of South Africa.
You have the memory card of you going down the mountain. That's it.
That's it. They find my body. They'll at least know I had a good time right before I'm out, right? You know?
So what happened?
What do you do? What do you do?
I don't know. It's all crying.
What do you do? Where do you even begin? Where do you start? You're in a foreign country. You don't speak the language.
Yeah. What did that guy do?
Cab left. He just dropped me off.
What about the guy you were with?
What guy?
Oh, the guy you were with?
It was the cab driver.
That was it.
Oh, you mean the other dude?
The other dude that radioed or whatever. He didn't come with you.
No, he wasn't with me. No, he took a different vehicle, I guess, to home base or whatever, you know?
Oh, okay. That's
He's
so
gone.
weird.
Yeah.
Why was he trying to get you to go back into the cab?
I don't know. So I'm just standing up there just waiting for a knife fight, you know?
And like, what the hell?
Just crickets, man. Nothing. So I sat up there for like a while. Like a while.
No.
Like, if it was an hour, it felt like 3, you know? And eventually, I'm sitting up there watching the sun slowly go down.
Oh, no.
You know, I hear a bus coming up. And I go, oh, you know, here's somebody. Maybe I can talk to them. And it just so happens to be the bus driver that drove us up there, like our guy. He figured out that I missed the boat. And I wasn't on the beach.
You weren't on it.
So he was like, he must be back at the top. So I'm like never more happy in my life to see a person ever. Because otherwise I'm just like royally fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you do?
I don't even know. I don't even know what I could have done.
Yeah.
You know? So get in the cab or get in the bus and go back down. And on the way down, I'm like, how did you even figure out I'm up here? He's like, well, the guys who were doing the launch had a pamphlet, like a brochure to like advertise their business. He was smart enough to grab one of those right before I took off, just out of curiosity, called the number on the card or on the pamphlet, got a hold of my dude who sent me down. He passed the buck to the cab driver who drove me up. And the cab driver's like, yeah, I just dropped him off. He's just chilling up there. And so he got in his bus and drove up and picked me up. And that's how he figured out that I was still up there. I don't remember that guy's name.
Wow.
But holy shit, I could not have been more grateful for that man because he was
That's
smart
crazy.
enough to like figure all that out within like an hour or so. So I get back down, and he had just dropped off the guys, and they're all in like a bar on the beach somewhere, and I walk into this bar just pissing mad again because it's the third fucking time, right? And they're like, "Hey, where you been?"
You're like,
what do you mean we're at bed?
What do you mean?
And they're like, "You were supposed to be on the beach." I'm like, "I know. He pushed me. He pushed me to take the cab." And that one was my fault. That was way my fault. That one's pretty
So did
bad.
they went to the beach?
They did. They went to the beach. I wasn't there. And I don't remember if the dude who took me down was still standing there and told them like, "Hey, he ain't here." Or he took the cab, or whatever it was.
But
I wasn't
the thing
there.
in each of these stories is nobody seems concerned for your well-being, and I'm concerned.
It's not that.
No one's concerned.
It's not that at all, because they know I'm just like good in a crisis, And I that one I didn't figure it out. That one that dude figured out. So I was very grateful for that dude, man. That was wild.
Oh my God. They're like, you survived again, and we're trying to get rid of you. This time we let you jump off this mountain, and somehow you're still surviving.
Oh my God. That was scary, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was literally just sitting up there. There must have been like a bench or a rock or something. I was just sitting, just looking. You know what I was looking at? Bro, I was looking at, so there's a small island. There was a couple of small islands off the coast of Africa, but the island that's immediate, the first one you see, is the one that Nelson Mandela was imprisoned on. Oh, and we were there like the week he died.
Oh,
like he had died like a couple of days before or something like that.
Yeah.
So the whole city was just in somber, right? So I'm sitting on top of this mountain thinking about my bros and looking at this island, thinking about Nelson Mandela, and just going, man, I thought I had it bad. This guy had it worse, So I should be nothing but grateful in this moment. So the timing of all that worked in such a way that mentally I was like, okay, it would just sort itself out. I was like, this isn't as bad as what that man did for humanity, So
yeah. Internal panic.
Yeah.
Like, where are my friends?
Yeah. The suffering that he went through just for the sake of humanity is just almost unmatched, So I was like, yeah, I got nothing to bitch about up here, I messed this one up. This was my bad.
You're like, at least I have this memory card. Memories.
And I might still have the memory card. I think it's somewhere in
I hope so. I want to watch that video. That'd be really cool.
Oh my God, this is how long ago it was. It must have been 2013, because there's a Vine of it.
Oh my
so
gosh.
back when Vine was a thing.
Yeah,
the guys have a Vine. It's a Vine clip of me going, "Oh, there he goes, and bye."
Oh my God. There's a Vine.
Way back then, an 8-second clip.
I haven't even heard of Vine.
You don't remember Vine?
No. I remember Vine. I haven't heard of it in so long.
Oh,
no one talks about it. It hasn't been a thought.
Because TikTok got so huge. That's why.
Yeah.
So.
Dang.
Yeah,
Tell me about your connection to Hawaii.
I first came out here. It must have been that same year, 2013 or 2014, somewhere in that year, because it was a stopover either on the way to or on the way back from Australia. I think it was on the way to. And I mean, God, the moment you get here, you just kind of fall in love with everything in every direction that you look, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, you grew up here, so there's a peace, definitely. There's a serenity, And I'm not really a spiritual person by any means. I mean, if you were to put a name to it, I'm probably somewhere around agnostic or atheist,
Right.
But like, I don't know, something that I refuse to claim I understand exists here on some level that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah, a lot of people call it like the mana, or the like feeling that's here.
I've heard the Aina, connecting with the Aina.
Yeah.
I also heard one time somebody told me that people talk about this island the way you fall in love with a woman. I can relate with that, There's certainly just a loyalty to it, you and I hike a lot, we always bring like an extra bag, like a potato sack, to like clean up opala on the trail and stuff like that,
Yeah.
There's just such a respect for the way people live out here for the most part, not the tourists. I just love it. Everything about the mountains, and the view and the ocean, like, I know that as some people get older, they want to get closer to water. There's like healing stuff about being closer to water. Like, I don't know what it's called or anything like that, but there's something to that. Like living close to water really like,
So, yeah, that's interesting.
it gives you perspective, right? Because it's so big, it's bigger than you, and it kind of humbles you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel the same way about the mountains because they're so big that like it just really humbles you. And you and I have climbed the tallest peak on this island.
Yeah, that was
and it really humbles you. Yeah, that was a
Oh.
bitch of a day. That was a 12-hour day.
Yeah, I will never forget how tired my legs were. And then we just went to like the closest 7-Eleven, and I was just like, carbs. Like my brain was like,
we were in Waianae.
And we were
just like,
I was like, Manapua, carbs,
sucking
anything.
down like those $1 waters as much as we could.
Yeah. Like you're almost like so delirious from being hungry and thirsty that you're just like imagining a 7-Eleven somewhere. Like,
yeah. I mean, we came down off the hill, and it was maybe the first left.
And it was
right there.
And it was we started the hike, Mount Kaala, right?
It was Kaala, yeah, Kaala.
We started it before the sun came up.
Yep, we started at sunrise and got back to the car.
It was dark.
Your truck at sunset.
I was like, as long as my truck's here,
yeah.
I don't care about anything else. Just don't let my truck be like on Bibles or something, you know? Because you never know. You're like, you never know. I don't know. You never know. That's happened to a friend of mine before. He let a buddy borrow his car.
Oh no, there's mistake one.
Didn't think much of it.
Sure.
You know, but I remember he calls me. I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, hey, have you seen Andrew? His name is Andrew. I was like, no, why? Well, I let him borrow my car a couple days ago. I'm like, a couple days ago?
A couple days?
I was like,
what?
That's not a good sign. You might want to like try to get your car back.
Oh my God.
So he calls me to give him a ride.
Okay. To where?
I guess,
he's got a location?
Yeah, he told him where the car was. Apparently he left it on the North Shore. I was like, oh no.
What?
Yeah, I'm not even making this story up. It sounds like I am. I'm really not.
I fully believe this.
We show up. His car is literally on Bibles. No tires. I was like, what the heck? I didn't know what I was going to roll up to because I was like, oh, he probably just went to the beach and did a bonfire.
Yeah.
What ended up happening was I guess he got a ride back to like Schofield from somebody else and was thinking I'm going to go get it the next day.
And never got around
was so
to
hungover.
it. Oh my God.
He ended up not doing it. And then like 2 days passed.
Oh my God.
So he didn't mean to be an irresponsible idiot.
Irresponsible idiot paid for new tires, right?
So my friend ended up, I know he like ended up making some sort of claim and ended up getting money for the car. So it was a good story in the end for him.
Oh my God.
But dude. I will never forget rolling up and being like, are you sure this is your car? And it was like, he like unlocked and it was just like nothing. Everything was gone. Like I was just like,
it's picked clean.
People on the
Even
North Shore
floor
needed
mats
it.
are gone.
It was pretty astonishing.
The hood is in a tree next door. You know,
I was shocked, and I mean, you know, I've gone to North Shore and things like that, but never have I ever left my vehicle for 2 days to see what happened.
Do you remember where it was parked? Where on North Shore?
It was like past Dillingham Airfield, like just on one of those beaches. He just like pulled up.
Okay, not like a known beach, just one of those like side guys.
No, he didn't do anything smart with that.
Well done.
Yeah, probably wasn't smart. Probably just had like a bunch of maybe people in that area that knew that it was there after a couple days and took advantage of the situation.
That's exactly what they did.
But I was like, oh my God.
Dude, that's awful.
My friend ended up actually getting more money than like the car was worth. So it was like a good story in the end.
Did insurance pay out? Or
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's cool.
Yeah.
What kind of car was it?
It was like one of those beater, like it wasn't like a neon, but it was like similar to that, you know, like one of
Dodge
those like
neon?
like one of those old Tiburon or something.
Sure,
I don't know, like one of those, you know, one of those.
What was the
like,
Ford version of that? It was
beater
like
anyway. But like
Escort,
it ran,
like an Escort or something.
Yeah, it ran. It was fine. Like that car could have
God.
ran another whatever 100 miles. Like
Yeah,
it was,
change the oil. You're good.
Yeah. But man, I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like, is this really happening? Like, and then I was like, why did you even let him have your car? Like,
yeah, what was that about?
Like,
he just wanted to go to North Shore, didn't have a way up, didn't want to take the bus.
It was just he was just being a trusting friend, and that definitely affected their friendship. But that was hilarious.
I'd say
That was hilarious.
he's lucky to still have, eyes.
Yeah, I don't even think he got that mad at him, to be honest. I mean, he was mad enough to where like they weren't friends anymore, but
Wow.
I was like, man, you're better than me, man. I would have like raged on someone for that. Like,
I might have.
What?
I
mean,
might have.
depending. I mean, luckily it was a good result, but
Right.
That was not good. Yeah. But I've never have like I experienced something like that happening here.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard stories. I've heard
yeah,
stories,
and
but that's a different level.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that happening somewhere, I don't know, in like Chicago or something, you know?
Yeah, or like San Francisco, where smash and grab is just like happening in regular
It's so
bumper-to-bumper
crazy because
traffic.
when I lived in San Francisco, that was so normal.
Yeah, it still is. It's worse now than it ever has been.
Yeah, and
it's
then when
literally
I came,
happening in the middle of like a light
yeah,
change.
yeah,
Broad daylight.
I experienced it. My car got broken into again, and it already had a broken window. I was like, you didn't even have to break the other window. Like,
Right, yeah.
just reach
Just
in,
reach
bro.
in.
Like, it's not even locked at this
Dude,
point. Like,
one of my favorite things, like when I go,
take what you want.
when I go to West Side to do hikes and stuff out there, is there like locals will just keep their windows open. They're just like, if please just because it costs more to break the window than
Right.
for them to just replace the stuff that was stolen.
Well, and a good rule of thumb is they don't keep anything in there anyway.
That I mean, there's
You
that
know,
also.
and
There may be something in the trunk or whatever, but it's just one.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh because it's like a big like fuck you to anybody who's gonna come by. Like, go ahead, open the door, take a sniff around, see what you find. You know, what you gonna steal? The cigarette lighter? You know, like
dang it, my cigarette lighter's gone. Dang it. I shouldn't have tested wine eye the way that I did. So you're gonna stay here then?
yeah, for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I don't see any other place I'd be happier.
Nice.
I remember a point in time where you were even talking about moving like back to LA after you got out and everything, and
Yeah.
and I kept twisting your arm like, no, stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, I don't know. I go through phases. I think sometimes the opportunities like elsewhere seem enticing, but I mean, even just going and visiting,
Yeah.
yeah, I end up missing it here a lot. There is really just no place like Hawaii. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I still travel. You know, I do my annual stuff. Like I have 3 or 4 things on the mainland that I go to every year. But the longer I'm away from here, it's probably the first time I've like really felt homesick is being away from here. Because
Wow.
I've moved so much that I know I don't miss being home. And I lived on the road for the better half of a decade that like there just really wasn't
You
a home.
didn't
There
have
was
like a genuine connection to any other
I had a
place.
bed in Florida. I had a bed in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't. I didn't feel connected to that space because I was
Yeah.
never there long enough to make it a home. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were just at my place the other day, probably since the first time since I moved in, because you were there when I moved in. Remember how like empty that place was? And now look, I like got so much stuff on the walls and shit now. Like I've just really tried to make that place a home. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the longer I find myself away from here, the harder it is to like stay away.
Yeah.
Even if I'm on a trip, you know, like I went to Japan last summer and that was like a long 2 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was fun. It's, oh my God, I'll never go back to Japan in the summertime because holy shit. I thought Florida heat was hot. Dude, ain't got shit on Japan in the
Dang.
summer. I was actively dripping everywhere I went every single day. It was
Dang.
disgusting.
Ew.
Yuck.
But like Japan.
But like also
But like Japan.
Japan was so rad.
What kind of Pokemon did you get out there?
Everything. Well, I went for 2 events. It was plus my buddy who actually is from Florida. He kind of was like my tour guide out there because he's been over a few times and he knows his way around. He understands the like the train system and stuff like that, how to get places and things.
That's
So it's
amazing.
like if I was gonna go, it might as well be for these 2 events. One was for Worlds and the other was for the Asia Go Fest. And they were happening in like back-to-back weeks. And in the in-between time, we literally took a train every single day to go to, he had so many different like places he wanted to go.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And like, I mean, I'm talking like out of the big cities into small villages, like to find these
Wow.
like little parks and stuff that he was looking for.
Wow.
And oh my God, it was so cool. One day we took like 3 trains just to get to the middle of nowhere.
You're
to
talking
find-
about the YouTube.
Yeah,
what's it?
JT. Yeah, my buddy JT.
Yeah, JT. I
Yeah.
like him. He was cool.
Oh, dude, he's the best. He'll be
Is he
back
gonna
out
come
here.
back?
Yeah, he'll be back out here.
Yay.
So Worlds last year was in I want to say Yokohama, and this year it's here. on this island. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going.
It's at the convention center in Honolulu. It's in August, 17th, 18th, 19th, somewhere that weekend. It's that weekend.
Ooh, that's the same day as a Spartan race.
Guess you're not going. So
I'll come after. I just won't be able to walk.
It's so cool. It's just so cool to walk around the convention center and see so many people that are so stoked about this one thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like a con. Have you ever been to a con?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Which con?
Any con.
Yeah.
Anime con, Comic Con, whatever. There's so many now, you know?
Yeah.
There's video game cons now. But this is like, it's all for Pokemon. It was just
That's
so
awesome.
rad. You know, and it's...
So he's coming out for that.
He's coming out for that. Yeah. So he'll be back for that.
Nice.
I'm stoked. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Well, tell us your website.
Oh, it's just JCPix3, PICS, instead of PIX.
Okay.
.com.
Okay.
That's
I'm
how
gonna
you
put it in
Find
there
me
for
on
you.
all of that.
Yeah. Thank
at
you for coming on
JCPix3.
here. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for
I'm
hanging.
glad you have stories.
Dude, I got infinite stories, man.
Thank God. Some people, I'm like pulling their life out of them. Like, okay, you don't have an interesting life. All right. You know? No,
man, I'm not really. I mean, I still go travel places and stuff, but like.
But you have a pretty interesting life, which is good.
Yeah, that's a word for it.
Well, I'm gonna have Justin on again because we have a lot of stuff we do want to discuss. The haiku stairs is definitely a topic that we'd like to get into.
Yeah, it's a topic.
But I appreciate you for coming on, and you can follow him on Instagram, JCPix3. Again, he's a graphic designer, videographer, and photographer. So if you guys need anyone on the island, definitely hit up Justin. He's been my photographer for a long time. He's amazing.
10 years now.
And he's so fun. Anyway, thanks for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast. Please like and subscribe, you guys.
Like it.
Aloha.
Subscribe.